Well, this is going out live on Twitch and YouTube.
Old man plays with technology, loses.
So there is that.
There.
Why didn't you just leave your laptop open and set it?
It
on
wouldn't. It wouldn't hold. I'd have to use the leverage here. I'm an expert.
You are not. You were. I did everything. I didn't hold it for you.
You know what? You stay on this camera.
All right, are we ready?
You worry about that camera
Oh
and that
God.
mic.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking. It's my life in the box, been drawn to be. Like it's all in my arms, it's the soul of me. You walk by, and you see me laying face. Your head by the door, it's your time.
All right, you are listening to the Ultimate Wrestling Podcast. I am Blake, along with old man Corey Hyde, Mr. Sister, Mr. Hope over on the other side. She did not check out wrestling this week.
Neither did our other partner,
Our other partner, Brian,
one who's supposed
the
to be
one
here.
who's supposed to be one
whose
major
brainchild this
part
is.
of the show. This is his fucking show,
This is his baby.
and
Where's
he's
he
not
at?
here. He's nowhere to be seen.
He's at home washing his tights.
So, anyways, this week in WWE, they had Crown Jewel, which takes place in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Worst fucking pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life.
How much did it cost?
It didn't cost me. I've got Peacock, so it didn't cost me anything.
If
He
you,
paid
if
too
you
much.
didn't have, how much?
It's $9 a month for Peacock.
So if you didn't have Peacock,
Oh, I'm
and
sure
you
they
had
would
the
have charged
pay-per-view,
like
how
30
much would it
bucks
have
or
been?
something.
Yeah, I think it's like $39.99 if you have to like
$40
buy it. Yeah.
Damn.
Or
Hey,
maybe
but
more than
You
that.
paid nothing for it, and you still paid too much.
I agree. It was awful.
I mean, okay, setting aside,
Let's start.
there's a lot to unpack.
There is. Let's start at the beginning. What should have been a huge fucking match? Hell in a Cell.
That's their opening match.
That's the opening match. Hope you're familiar with a Hell in a Cell match. Mankind,
Oh,
Undertaker,
Hell in a Cell, yeah.
thrown off the top. Huge match. It's supposed to be
Thrown
like
through.
a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
No one on top of a cage.
Mm-hmm.
No one outside of the cage.
Okay.
They just fought inside the cage and use steel chairs. Why not just have a fucking hardcore match?
I mean, really.
Why would you not just have a hardcore match and watch that as opposed to putting together what WWE put together? Billing it as a Hell in a Cell match, something that has the clout of Undertaker and Mankind. The best call of all time, Jim Ross. My God, they killed him.
My God, as God is my witness, he is broken in
That's
half.
right. Comes from the Hell in a Cell match. We put Edge and Seth Rollins in these matches, and they sucked.
Well, we put nobodies in a match, and you get nothing.
But that's the issue with WWE.
Well, okay, no, you did get something. They have diminished what Hell in the Cell is.
It is. It's
They have
a
demeaned it.
it's a hull of what it used to be.
Yeah,
okay.
they gutted it.
I mean, this comes from an old school wrestling fan. I watched during the Attitude Era and prior to that. My point is that what they have right now, they're in the PG era going on in wrestling.
PC era.
It really is the PC era. You had Edge. You're familiar with Edge, right, Hope?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Edge, who is 44 years old and looks like he's 85.
He's so old.
I mean, he looked like he was anorexic or had AIDS or something. His face is sunk in.
Might have.
He's terrible looking. And here he is fighting Seth Rollins in this, who's also pretty rough looking. I'll just go ahead and toss that out there. Was pretty rough looking, you know, in this Hell in a Cell match that we got a ladder involved in for some reason. And then in the end, Edge wins.
Mhm.
The build up to the match, terrible.
Yeah,
He broke into my house. He ate an apple and threw it in the floor.
and laughed.
Okay. All three of us watched wrestling in the heyday. If you were building a match, if you were going to build a big mainstream match, something you're going to pay someone $1 million to wrestle in, are you going to start out with them breaking into the other person's house? Hope, you're an entertainment person. If you're building a storyline, is that a good storyline to start with? They broke into my house.
It could be.
Depends on what they did.
They ate the apple and threw it on the
No,
floor.
that part was the worst part.
No.
I mean,
He should have like busted up his furniture.
yes, set the damn house on fire.
roughed up
Richard
his-
Hammond, that fucking house.
No.
wrecked
Went
his
full
children
Medea.
or whatever.
Chainsaw to the couch. Cut it in
Sure.
half.
Sure, something bigger than what they did. It was a terrible buildup,
Mm-hmm.
and they've made it into something that it's almost an unwatchable product.
It is. It has been for years.
And that I agree. But as I say, it was almost completely unwatchable. We had to fast forward through it. Moved on to the next match.
The promos were boring. I mean, they were
But
just,
that's the thing is that 4 hours. It was 4 hours, and it was what 90% promo.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so then you fast forward to the next match. It was the Mansoor guy versus the other Ali guy.
Was that the next match?
Yeah, I think that was the
Oh, no,
next
they had
match.
a woman's match.
Yeah, they had big,
big
girl,
girl.
and
Big girl.
yeah, well, her name's Dewdrop.
Is it like Lizzo or something in the?
Yeah, I mean it's a white girl though, but she
Okay.
is.
Pitch Perfect. You know the big girl, like that.
No.
big. Okay.
It's a big girl.
Like
I mean,
fat,
I'm a
Amy
big
fat.
boy, but that was a big girl.
Okay.
She's
And-
tall too.
Yeah, and she's
She's not
wrestling,
just fat. She's a big girl.
and she's slow.
She is.
It was
Okay.
it was bad watching this match. Like, okay, you didn't watch wrestling like I did,
No.
but would you have ever said, you know what I want in wrestling? A fat chick.
No. Why not?
So you think that's a good move?
I think it depends on what they're doing with it.
If she can actually wrestle and do.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
we have big dudes. Why not?
I think that it depends on what they're doing with it. I mean, I think it would be interesting to watch a big fat chick beat the shit
All
out
right,
of
so,
like one of the Bellas. or
all
something.
three of us are fat people. We'll
Yeah.
admit to it.
No.
What? You won't admit to being a fat people?
No.
Can you just not leave that alone?
No.
No, it won't. It's
Corey has issues. He's angered. He's angered the iPad gods.
I've angered like everyone.
Corey's just had a
There's
bad
a
day.
gypsy curse, I think.
Why is your computer even plugged in at this point?
I don't know.
I just don't even get what he's doing. So anyways, we went through that. I think the Mansoor guy, the guy who was a hometown guy, won. There was a match with Goldberg and
That big black guy.
what was it, Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay. Goldberg needs to go home and retire.
Yeah,
That's just where I'm going to leave it. He won the match, but
it felt sad.
okay. All of us watched Goldberg in his heyday. Hope, can you describe a Goldberg match?
No.
You can't. It's
Because it
quick.
didn't go long. Oh my
Come
God.
in, wreck shit, pin somebody, leave. That was it. 2 minutes tops.
Okay.
You know,
You get the spear, get the jackhammer, bam, bam,
Right.
thank you, ma'am. You're done.
move on, and that was it. That was where they were at.
Mhm.
So the whole thing here was they tried to drag Goldberg into a 25-minute match, and Goldberg can't do a 25-minute match.
No, he couldn't even when he was good.
No, he couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper sack. Goldberg
That's why
comes
his
in,
matches were over.
spears somebody. I mean, he's a football player. Come in, tackle somebody, slam them on the ground,
and move on.
pin them, move on. That's it. That's all you've got to do.
That's it.
But with Goldberg, in modern times,
It's just, keep going.
You're not even plugged. Why are you plugged in? It's not even charged.
Shush. Shush it.
Sorry, viewers on Twitch, you can see Corey having a difficult time.
My life is a difficult time.
Oh my
So, anyways, terrible Goldberg match. Then they went on to Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Also terrible.
It was a bad match. The end was the end could have been golden. It could have been done well. Paul Heyman could have betrayed Roman Reigns.
They made it look like he could have or did.
Well,
know.
they made it look like he should have.
Yeah. You
There.
know what to do.
Hey, never mind. Hope's got you covered.
Do
Yeah.
we?
Give me your iPad.
No.
Give it to me
Mm-mm.
now.
Can't make me.
Hope has demanded Corey hand over the iPad.
Unplug it.
From
Give it here.
but it's got to plug up.
It's got 50% of its battery.
I don't know how long this is going to last.
At this rate, not long.
Well, thanks. Tell all the Twitch viewers that
Can I use your other plug?
For what?
Never mind.
You're fine.
I just had an idea.
So anyways, you had those matches. They were not very good.
No.
I think we could agree that Crown Jewel overall, if you had to give it,
You had the three-way women's fight.
okay. So best match out of the evening. What do you think it was?
Okay. For me, the most exciting match I'd have to say it was the three-way woman fight. And not because I'm like women, because I
Right.
don't,
No.
but because they were just like always doing something, you know?
No, I get it.
There
That
was something going on. It was something to watch. They made a spectacle.
It was a good match, and I hate women's wrestling. Okay,
But those women were all over the place doing shit.
it was done well. I
Yeah.
don't like the fact that Becky Lynch won, but that's
She was going to.
she's the fan favorite, so if she's gonna win. She just had a baby, so they have to
So yeah,
toss
I mean,
her
like
one from time to time,
but-
I guess.
that was the only good match. Your headliner sucked. Because let's just be honest.
Right?
The Goldberg match sucked.
Yes.
The big girl match sucked.
The King of the Ring, the Queen of the Ring match, those sucked.
Yeah.
And I mean,
and your headliner, you started off in the dirt.
that's the thing, though. It's like that should have been the main event.
Yeah, you saved the Hell in the Cell for the thing. I mean, that's the thing. You build up. It is sitting up there the whole time. Everyone can see it. They
Right.
know what's going to happen. That's your main event.
Right.
Those two should have fought Hell in a Cell. That
But-
would have been better.
It was okay. Overall, the shows are ran wrong. They try to put the main event on first. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, you don't start off with the big show.
Top card goes at the top of the card, not at the beginning. And I mean, to me, if I were Edge, I would be a little offended that they put my match at the first of the
Yeah, you're a throwaway.
Right.
You're the
I mean-
appetizer course.
and I mean, it's Edge. He was next
He
to
was
Brock
somebody.
Lesnar or Goldberg, the biggest person on the card.
He was a somebody.
And it was
Changed my name.
it was just a terrible it was a terrible show. Terrible show. If I had to give it stars altogether, I would give it a 1.
If that. If
Yeah.
that.
And it's struggling to get the 1 star.
Only one match was a 1-star match. And it was the women match.
Well, it was probably a 3-star match, honestly. But
Yeah.
other than that, there was no good matches.
Mm-mm.
So let's move on to
But I mean, let's let's not move on. I'm not done with it unpacking on this show.
okay, go ahead.
So the one thing we were going to talk about was that it was in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And geopolitics aside, okay, because there's plenty to be said about us, as Americans,
Right.
kowtowing to the Saudis all lately to get their money, or as we discussed on our podcast, bowing to the Chinese whenever they get offended because we said a thing
Right.
and they're not allowed to say things or think thoughts. Not that they'll ever hear this, but
Yeah, we're already banned there.
I will say, given that you have a major show, second time now,
Right.
overseas in a wealthy nation
Elton John.
such as Saudi Arabia, okay, given that you have that, You threw them nothing. You didn't even give them table scraps.
And that's the thing is, it's a
It was a
big money.
pretty arena.
Every-
Decorations look like Rio de Janeiro.
Every
at Mardi
person
Gras.
in these matches was getting paid out the ass to be there.
And this is what you get.
And it wasn't worth it.
No, all of those people with their little things on their heads, they were robbed.
Goldberg left with over $1 million for that match. For that 20 minutes that he went through, over $1 million. And it wasn't worth it.
No.
I mean, sure, it sold out a stadium in Saudi Arabia, but that couldn't sell out a stadium in the U.S. today for nothing.
No.
Because we remember what Goldberg was like in 1999. We remember, the heyday of wrestling. And that's the thing is
He looked rough too.
he did look rough. But this is the thing is as you watch that show, you can tell there's no look back at where they came from.
No, because if they did, you'd see how terrible it is. You'd have a comparison right there.
I don't think they want to go back. I don't think they want a good product anymore.
No. Well, they don't have to. Why should they?
Yeah, who AEW going to compete with you? I mean, they're competing, but they're not competing
They're not real competition.
right. They're not anywhere near you monetarily.
No, they're not on your level. I mean, that's the thing. It's cocky arrogance that they've stalemated themselves. They're stale.
Is it though? Think about the okay. So let's go back to 1995. WCW rocking and rolling, kicking WWF's ass, right?
No.
All right. What did WCW do that caused them to kick WWF's ass back then?
They had the Wolfpacks.
They hired big talent.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage,
Good names.
Ric
Big-time names.
Flair, Nash, Hall, pick your poison. There's Lex
There's
Luger,
plenty of 'em.
list of names.
Mhm.
But you know what they all were?
They were old.
They were all used
Yeah. They were
at
used goods.
WWF. Okay. Look
They
at
weren't fresh
AEW.
talent.
Look at AEW today. What's AEW doing?
The old stuff.
The same damn thing. They're hiring WWF's or WWE at this point, used goods,
Mhm.
bringing them in, repackaging them, and hoping that it works. This is why I think AEW is going to have. I think AEW is in for a downfall because they're doing the same thing WCW done. I think WWE stands a chance. Sure, I don't like the direction they're going creatively.
Are they creative?
I didn't see anything creative in that show. I don't like the direction they're going creatively, but
I mean, those chairs
It
were well
is-
placed under the ring.
it is unique. It's not repackaged. Yes, Goldberg was there, Edge was there, Brock Lesnar was there. Sure, those are guys that it's time to be pushing them out of the ring. But Elon Juarez. But the thing is, at this point, WWE seems to be cultivating new talent to where AEW seems to be going back to old talent and hoping that that'll be what pulls them to the top.
These people have already been over it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing
look,
is
okay, having one or two veterans around,
it's
a
fine.
handful in your state.
You've got to have somebody to get other people over.
You got to have a couple, maybe five, maybe 5, 6 tops. Either gender, whatever. I don't care. Because you got to have something to draw people there.
Right.
But then you need hungry talent.
And that's the thing. It's like watching that. Did you see any passion?
No,
In
they
any-
were barely phoning it in.
I mean, look,
that was the saddest
I-
display I've seen.
I'm just gonna say when a referee just meanders over and then I'm not believing the match. I want that referee jumping across the damn ring.
like it's
That
life or
arm,
death.
yes, that arm going down. Bam! Second they land on the ground, counting that. I mean, if the referee sells the match,
Mhm.
okay, we'll all admit wrestling stage.
They're a prop.
Okay, the referee sells the
They're
damn
an
match.
underused prop.
Yes, and that's they completely ignored it. That poor,
Now,
sad-looking woman.
The main event match had a referee
They did.
incident, or whatever you want to call
But
it.
it was a badly written referee incident. It wasn't something that needed to be there.
And they've done it better in the past.
They have. It could
Where's
have been
the
done.
special referee?
I haven't seen it. I have not
You know
seen
what
a
I would have
special
done with that
referee.
match? Here's what I'd have done with that match. Okay, you don't want to Hell and Sell it? Fine, whatever. I don't even know why you brought it out there for that one thing.
Right.
If you're not going to use it, but you know what? Brock Lesnar versus what was the other guy's name? Who cares?
Roman Reigns.
Okay, him. You know who the special guest referee is? Paul Heyman. Make him choose real time on the
Look,
spot.
I think that would have worked. I think that would have been a fine setup.
I think that would be what I did with it. Make him the guest referee.
But that's the thing is like in WWE right now.
Really build up that tension if you're going to do something.
This is the issue I see, and going back and watching, there's just no.
That's far better handled than what they did with it.
Okay, I think that we all will all agree that a major premise, like it's not even a premise, you've got to have
A good manager.
a manager of the entire company present and in the forefront.
Yeah, you got to have a face.
Okay, and
A company
AEW, WWE, both are missing out on that right now. I know
Yeah,
they say
used to have.
Stephanie McMahon's supposed to be it, but she's not.
Where is she at? Where is she
I
at?
didn't see her a single time.
Yeah.
But my point is you've got to have
I mean, Vince was out there every
Yes.
damn night.
Bischoff out there every night.
Yeah.
You've got to have that face of the company man, the man who owns the damn company, runs the company,
Or at least
the
pretends
boss,
to.
right?
Yeah, as a character
Right.
pretends to.
The boss has to be there. You have to have that struggle between the working man and management. Period. The end. It's got to exist because that's the common struggle in life. Period. The end. Doesn't matter
And
where
it's
you
something that
live,
a lot of Americans can understand.
and not
and
just
relate to.
Americans, anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
You work for somebody for a living, you understand the tension with management.
Right. And you've got to have management there ready to roll.
Are you done breaking it?
I didn't break it.
Where are you?
Well, she's took herself out.
For some reason, even with it muted and all the volume off, it was still
Oh.
playing.
Well, we'll
I
just share.
couldn't. No, I don't want it.
Yeah. Hope's,
Oh,
Hope
she don't
seems
want-
to,
she-
Hope's-
Yeah, like I've said so much.
yeah. I just go ahead and pulled her mic down and moved on. If she has something to say, she can wave at me and say, "Hey, I want in." But no, I mean, where we're at is you've got a product that's out there right now that has zero leadership. You've got to have a boss character right there. If we were running a damn wrestling federation, right there's my boss character. I'm going to put her every freaking day out there as the boss character. You know why? Okay, here's why I'm going to do that. Stephanie McMahon is supposed to be the empowered female boss.
She's a pussy.
No, she ain't got shit on what that one right there would be, because she would be the first person to look at somebody and go, "You're fired." Or she would look at somebody and go, "You know what? You want to run your mouth tonight? Hell in a Cell versus the three biggest people I've got in the whole damn ring."
Heck, I've told my boss that he was fired before.
I mean, okay, but I'm just saying, but that's the thing is these people who are running the company now, they're putting these gimmicks of one wrestler versus another wrestler. There's no outside influence at all. It's just, oh, we don't like each other.
Mhm.
And that's the whole thing. That goes back to 1980s wrestling.
You got to go back to. You got to do the soap opera.
You need bigger
Full soap
story.
opera.
It has to always be a soap opera.
Mhm.
And that's so many
It's
people.
a soap opera with violence. That's all it is.
Yes, it is. And we've overlooked.
It's a soap opera.
We have that's with WWE. They've overlooked the whole gimmick of giveth and taketh away.
Mhm.
All right, Roman, you worked your ass off to get that belt back, but guess what? I'm stripping it from you. You're fired. Well, you got a contract, so you're going to put the ring together. Shit like that. We don't have that going on anymore. What you've got now is, oh, I'm mad at you, or you took my manager.
Go manage that buffet table.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's zero. And even with the announcing was awful. And
I'm willing to bet that the Saudi guys were much better. Than
they looked like they were more animated. They were bouncing around over in their seat. But I mean,
I bet that had a lot to do with the reason why things were the way that they were, because they were in Saudi Arabia.
but it's this way every time.
But you know what? Because I mean, like you can't go too crazy with it. So the best that they can do is probably, it's like, okay, so we don't have to worry about our wrestler getting their head chopped off. Let's say that he broke in there and ate an apple and threw it on the floor.
Okay, so let me if
No,
we
no,
were
what-
running
If that was the thing,
okay.
if that was going to be the case, I wouldn't sacrifice my story for a location.
If we three were running a wrestling federation,
wouldn't
we
make-
would never do that.
I wouldn't make the main event be that at that moment. You know, I'd save it for when you're back in the States.
You would never ever start a damn a rivalry based off of somebody breaking into somebody's house.
No,
I
it's
mean,
gotta
I
start
would, but
somewhere.
it would have to be over some serious shit.
But okay, DDP Undertaker, that rivalry where DDP was stalking Undertaker's wife and he was like up in the he broke into their house and was in the bathroom with a camera. Yeah, I mean
Like,
that was
What I'm thinking is, okay, I'm thinking like some OJ Simpson style break-ins and gonna steal some steal a title belt back.
the Rock Austin type stuff. I'm pro that too.
I mean, you could do that. There's a couple
Steal
of
it,
different
throw it
ways
in a
you
river,
can
something
do it.
along those lines. You know,
There's a couple different ways you can do it, but an apple is just not it.
no,
now-
it was a
Now, if you went in, ate every bit of food in their house, and then threw it up on their kitchen floor, and then defecated in the middle of it, then sure. I mean, like that's
Take
even
some
it's like
plates
what
out of the cabinet, throw them on the ground.
What the fuck is wrong with
Call
you?
it
ransack their home.
Cause a little quote property damage, you know, whatever.
But it was done so
Go through the panty drawer, you know, whatever.
I mean, that for that matter, he might as well have like ran in there and messed with their Ecobee and turn their air all the way down. So it was like it's like, oh my god, look at how much energy they wasted. Ugh,
it was bad.
that made
And-
our windmill work extra hard.
It was Crown Jewel. If you haven't watched it yet,
Don't
don't watch it. It was
I ain't seen it, and it sounds pretty damn bad.
it was not. I look. I'm a person who gets excited about good wrestling, and
What do you think Brian would be doing right now if he's listening to this? Like if he was part of this conversation,
he would be arguing with me about how
that
good.
how good it was.
Well, and Brian is aware that WWE is not at its peak anymore. He's aware that they're not as good as they were.
You'd be more devil's advocate.
But Brian would also be going, but those guys are working so hard, you know, like he would.
Are they?
So
And
Are they?
I think that they're
I mean,
working.
I'm working hard
I
to stay in this chair right now.
I think that
It's
they're
hurting
working.
my ass, but that doesn't mean that I need like
You
I don't
go
know
home.
encouragement for it.
I think they're working hard enough
Yeah, they're just doing the bare
Just
minimum. They're
enough
phoning it in.
to get that position, to get that 500,000 a year.
the
Yeah,
problem
they're giving
is
the bare
the
minimum.
problem is the
and it
writers.
shows.
Yeah,
The
that's
writers
true.
are what really suck. It's
Well,
not
they don't have anybody in creative. I just guarantee you that right now.
that's because everybody that's creative is doing something else.
There's no one creative. It doesn't matter. Look, where's
Where's the story?
where's great creativity at now?
I told you to watch that
They're all
show. On
working on
Hulu.
this.
So one show you've got,
That's about it. That's all I found lately.
but I'm just saying. I mean,
They're
like,
making games about squids.
I'm just. Oh yeah, but I'm telling
we
you,
got
if-
Lock and Key, and that's an interesting.
if tomorrow you had to go out and we had enough money to sign a roster for wrestlers, we could run a better promotion than they're running with $50,000 a year wrestlers. I have no doubt about that, because of the fact that we have that Days of Our Lives factor. We
We've
would want
watched
that.
enough of it.
Well, but we would want that.
Halloween, one of
And-
them's going to be possessed. We're going to have the
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, why would you not have something like that, or have like a priest character? You know,
Paul Bearer
you don't
comes
have the
in.
Undertaker anymore. Have a priest character who comes out every so often, you know, because I mean, you've got to start moving on from holding on to the Undertaker, keep bringing him back, you know, all that stuff
Eventually, the man that is the Undertaker will
will be
die.
dead. Yeah. So
And there's no bringing him back. I mean, unless you just like find someone who looks eerily close and try to talk him into being a
Yeah,
wrestler.
you can have Father Isaac White.
whatever.
And that
You
would
know what?
work.
When the Undertaker,
Give him like the old big preacher hat, from like
Right.
Poltergeist. The guy looks like
Yes. But he only comes out, certain times. He's not an all the time there character.
no. In
Bring
fact,
him in.
I would originally bill him like as a manager for somebody else.
No. He's got to be a big bad guy.
Yeah.
He couldn't be a manager.
Okay.
You don't want him talking. I don't think he
No,
needs
he doesn't need this. Well, okay. If you're gonna have a preacher and he can't talk, what is he?
who
a priest.
make him like an old old timey witch hunter or something.
Yes,
like that.
that's exactly the route I would go,
Something-
like Van
something crazy.
Helsing.
No, I was actually thinking stand against evil and be like
Okay.
the way the constable was that
Right.
like where it was actually he was the witch.
I mean, these are good ideas. WWE would never come up with
But he's
this.
taking a vow of silence.
No,
No, you don't have to do. I mean, you can still talk, but you don't look. Here's the thing: when you're a big tough guy,
Just a grunt.
you don't have to say a lot of words.
Mm.
No, you don't need. You're okay. See, you're working. You must work for WWE because you're coming up with, and then he can cluck whenever he's gonna, when he's gonna do his finisher, he can go, "Baka!" and everybody will think it's great. They'll know that that means he's possessed. So
Give him the high sign.
and then the guy will start doing the chicken dance, climb up on the side, and then break his neck.
look, the whole
And
thing,
that is how he does his finishing.
the whole crown jewel was a mismanaged fuck up. They shouldn't have done it. They need to go back, rework on their creative stuff, and
They need to go stalk the people, okay, the writers
With knives.
who are writing Days of Our Lives. 'Cause
Yes.
Marlena got possessed again just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, there you
did
go.
she?
Yeah,
Really?
So-
yeah. I'm telling
Well,
you,
Stefano can't save her this time.
Go to Days of Our Lives. Go stalk these people outside. What are they? ABC or something like that.
NBC.
NBC.
NBC. Okay, so go to NBC.
And they already got to deal with NBC.
Stalk these writers, okay, and be
They're
like,
on Peacock.
we want you. We want you. Come with us. We need help. And then what they'll do to really throw a gambit in it, since it's also Peacock, okay,
Right.
is they'll go to the Beyond Salem
Oh, okay.
writers because they're just as crazy.
Look.
If they're not the same, get the different people.
Look, the whole thing here,
You get some Saturday Night Live
WWE.
people, they'll be good.
the whole thing on WWE
Rick and Morty.
is WWE needs better writers, period. The end.
Yes.
Now,
Because the brain dead fucks they've got now is no good.
the superior product right now is AEW. And AEW is putting out a better show, but I don't believe it's going to last because, as I say, they've got a bunch of old people over there. And yeah, eventually all these guys are going to come out to the ring with their canes or their walkers. And I mean, where do you go from there?
Cripple match.
Yeah.
Cane match.
Jerry fights.
We're gonna put a bottle of Geritol
Welcome
on top
to
of the
the-
platter. and
Welcome
whoever
to
gets-
the hell in the Geritol cell.
constipation matches and shit.
Oh, he's got him in the geriatric sleeper hold.
But I mean, like AEW, I feel like okay, they've got the money, but they're in the same place Ted Turner was at in '95, going into the 2000s. They got a 5-year run unless they
Oh,
do
there he
something
is. He's
different.
getting up on the side doing his "fuck you, millennials."
Yeah.
Okay,
Back in
boomer.
my day.
Okay,
Right.
okay,
What's
boomer.
wrong with kids these days?
But the thing is, look, I'll point out.
Zooming around on their Zuma pads.
You've watched wrestling with me this week to get caught up for this stuff.
Oh,
And when we were younger, there were certain sounds that if you were sitting at your house and the TV was on and you heard them, you stood up. The glass shatter for Steve Austin.
You got excited.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking, the Undertaker's bell tolling.
Kane's organ.
Kane's music never really got people.
I don't know.
You think so? You
It
think
got
people?
some of it, yeah.
Um.
He was involved in enough story arcs.
Oh,
that
there
it
was some
good.
other guy who had some really cool music that I remember from my kid, but I don't.
Well, we'll talk about writing. Okay, this is how. Okay, our mother, she hated wrestling. I'll throw that air quotes around it, but she got so into this one storyline. Do you remember when the Higher Power was going to come out?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the Undertaker had the Higher Power that was going to come out,
In
and
Austin.
she's sitting there going, "Oh, it's Shane McMahon. It's Shane. You know, it's Shane McMahon." And
Shane McMahon comes out with
and
him.
Shane McMahon comes out with the Higher Power, and she's like, "It's Shane McMahon. You know it's going to be here. It's somebody fake in there. It's not really. They're just going to bow down to Shane or something like that." And then Vince comes up on the Titantron. And he goes, "Well, I think it's time you show your face, Higher Power." And he pulls his mask back, and it's Vince McMahon. He goes, "It's me, Austin." You know. Oh, I mean, like that woman almost came unglued over that.
Well, she also got kind of interested in the Stephanie Triple H
Right.
Kidnapping thing.
weird
Yeah.
love story
Where they
that
got
they had.
they got married in the drive-through.
It was-
But they don't do that
And then the
stuff
car
anymore.
Stockholm
accident
syndrome
that The Rock was in,
Right.
and they like just kept hammering his limo with I don't remember what it was, like a talker, like a
Oh, and I remember. Do you remember when? Well, Vince McMahon. At one night, Vince McMahon was just like, "Yo, I'm done." Throws the mic down in the ring, walks out to his limo, gets in, and the limo blows up. And nobody knew what happened to Vince McMahon for like 2 days. Okay. Now I get this was in the early days of the internet. You couldn't just go look it up back then. People were legitimately concerned.
Well,
Vince
it was
McMahon.
like The Rock when that car
Right.
accident happened. They actually thought that because it had ambulance and everything,
Right.
trying jaws of life trying to get him out of this car.
And they had to end that angle because somebody died. I don't remember who, but in real life, somebody died. No, 9/11 happened is what happened, and they ended the McMahon dying angle. But
Why?
because they felt that it was inappropriate at that
and
time,
that was the end of
Well,
and
he's
that was
not-
the end of good wrestling.
Well, I mean, look,
that was the end of good anything.
I think there's some truth to that.
okay, it's 20 years later.
It's still too
It's
late.
time to put new stuff.
Yeah.
It's time to put new good stuff
But
out.
but we're a country that can't crawl out from the shadow of it.
No, people are still concerned about that. They still worry about it. But we've got to, that's the thing is like, we've got a,
That's
we've
not.
got,
I don't really agree with that statement, but I would say that anybody that was in that tower that did die would not want the rest of the world to give up on trying to move on.
No, it was a
but
monument
if
to
you
freaking
think-
greed. No, of course I didn't.
no, but if you think about, we've lost our humor and our ability to be entertained since 9/11 because
We have to be a grim, solid,
I think- you know what?
long-suffering nation.
But I think the problem is that we've also lost a lot of really funny people too. And that's changed the direction of where everything's went.
but back to wrestling though. What
You
if we
can't-
lost
you'll get
in
Me
wrestling?
Too'd. You'll get me too now.
It's true. I mean,
You can't say things or you'll be cancel cultured or whatever out.
but is
You're done.
that
But I think that began when some of these people that made us laugh and not overthink everything have passed on.
do you think that cancel culture will last?
Yes.
You don't think it's going to be like it was in the 60s and
No.
move on?
No, it'll make it to a certain point and then it'll kind of mellow out a little bit.
I think there's going to have to be a counter revolution to it.
Well, I think that's what Trumpism was and it didn't work, but
I don't know that it didn't work, but
No, I think that.
I think
look,
it
I mean,
remains
we're
season.
part of the counter revolution to it. I mean, that's we're not pro cancel culture.
well, but it's a pendulum. So the problem is that the pendulum's so far in one direction, it takes a long time to come back. And then the problem is that with Trumpism, it goes too far the other way.
But so,
Like the lady that wants to, tell the Holocaust other side.
but back to
I know.
keeping it in the
But I'm okay.
entertainment area at least. I mean, what is there not a place where they say, okay, is it just the fact that it's the corporate structure
I
that
think that's
says
it. I think it's the corporate structure.
you can't do this anymore?
Well,
because
it's
they don't
the
want to
fear.
get sued.
It's not even get sued. It's they can't perform if they don't have sponsors.
Yeah,
But-
and
but
people would get
is
all
If they
upset.
can't get sponsors, they can't put it out there.
I mean, look, we've seen
look-
that work in play already with like the Fox News stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will. I mean, we're not going to get all too political here.
You
but
can get a sponsor though. It may not be the one you want. You may not get Coca-Cola, but you
But who
can
you-
get a
But who are
sponsor.
you gonna get? You gonna get it's gonna be the RC Cola 500 or whatever.
No, but see,
Dr. Lynn.
you're talking about wrestling's not sponsored by anybody.
Yeah, but in the arena, you've got people. I mean, you have typically it's sponsored by a beverage because you can go and get beverages,
And the arenas may not want to.
and they're not gonna
want the bad press. From you
if
either.
Coca-Cola's pissed off, they're not going to allow you to sell Coca-Cola in the stands if they don't agree with what you're doing.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be associated with that because of the taint.
So you think that it's the corporate structure has just killed all entertainment?
Yes,
Mhm.
they probably killed all the riders too.
It can't be brought back.
Do something with corporations.
No. So you're saying a sole proprietorship opens up tomorrow?
You want to know where the problem is? Okay. The real problem is the sponsors are really left, okay? And the people who are watching some of this shit are really right. And so the problem is they're not working together.
Right.
So it's causing the whole thing to go downhill, like NASCAR, for instance.
Well, let's look at wrestling for a second. Say you started the company, sole proprietorship tomorrow, and you could get 1 million viewers a week. You don't think you can make enough off ticket sales and off merchandise?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Why not?
Because the problem is you're still going to have to be able to televise it. And in order to get it televised, you've got to have corporate sponsors that are going to put their commercials
So you don't
out
think
there.
the internet is going to be something that cuts into television? I mean, it's already cutting into television.
Yeah,
It
but
needs to be more.
you still have to have something else. But I mean, that's the thing. Even with the internet, okay, you take YouTube Live or take Hulu or whatever. All they still have sponsors unless you do the ad free.
Right, but what I'm saying, sure, they have
But
sponsors.
these people that are putting these commercials on Hulu, for instance, okay, right now the one that I keep seeing is one for a Lexus. Okay. A Lexus vehicle. All right. Say Lexus doesn't want to sponsor what you're doing, what you're putting out there.
Why is Lexus wanting to sponsor a wrestling event anyway? Average income of a wrestling fan's not that high.
I don't know.
Why would you waste your money there?
Why would they be on the ad version of Hulu anyway? It's a Lexus.
My
How
stance,
stupid.
I get it, but I mean,
but it's there. Regardless, it's there.
I get take the money from whoever's offering it, but you don't think that if a person opened up and they said, you know what?
By the way, if you want to give us money, we'll take it.
Yeah, we've got a Patreon, by the way. Go to www.fatbaldandwhite.com.
We have better shows.
So I don't know. This one I think is going to be interesting if Brian ever decides to show up. But no, I mean, if you're a wrestling company, you don't think that as a sole proprietorship, there's any way now to rise up your rules?
No.
No.
Not
No.
without like a massive. You're going to have the capital on hand day
And that's
one.
the other thing too. You have to be endorsed by a
You're going to have your own
your
network or
athletic
own-
gear. So you got to have Nike, who's very
But
progressive,
why would you want?
or Reebok, who's if any, you might get Under Armour. They're racist enough.
But why would you want that?
You have to have somebody, so you are literally going. If
Are you
you
going
do
to make
it-
your own?
yeah, you're
clothing
gonna have
brand?
to do your own.
That's what. But WWE,
You're going to
did-
go out and build.
you're
your own?
wearing a freaking shirt. The WWE created a brand.
I didn't buy
they
it.
didn't
No, no, no,
create the
I'm saying-
brand. They partnered with somebody
No,
else.
that
Yes.
brand they created, and then they gave up on it and partnered with Under Armour.
That's because it's too expensive to do that.
Yeah, you can't just do other things.
Look, they were
The
making
people
money.
are too poor. Corey's too poor to go buy tap out shit all the damn time.
I didn't buy this one.
I bought that one.
But it
My-
doesn't. But that's my point. You can't that's the thing. You are going to leech so much
Oh,
money.
Megan bought it.
It's better to franchise. It's better to franchise out and let everybody else sponsor in.
Mhm.
It's cheaper
cost
and
effective.
it's more cost effective.
So
and
you
much
think that's
more
what?
efficient.
So you think that's what's neutered wrestling?
I think that's what's neutered everything.
So you think that a Stone Cold Steve Austin type
Would never make it.
couldn't do anything today?
He could help, but
Well, that's like The Rock. I mean, The Rock partnered with Under Armour to do his stuff. It's not his stuff. Everybody,
Yeah, but you're
everybody
talking about
now,
you're talking about The Rock's personal deal with Under Armour to put out clothes with the Brahma Bull emblem on it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But it's all the same crap. My point to that is everybody's doing it because it's cost effective.
yeah, why make the things? Why build your own factory? In China
And
when
the
there's
thing
already one
is
there?
that it's the same crap. Under Armour's just putting their label on it. It's like Air Jordans. Okay, it's still Nike shoes. It's just got Jordan's symbol on it.
I get all these, your merchandising ordeal, but I know, and you know, that you can still go and have
It's
shirts
still,
made.
It's still a Glidden t-shirt.
Yes,
It's just your shit on it.
right.
You're not reinventing the wheel.
No, I get it, but why would they want to go and get in bed?
Glidden may decide that they don't want to. They will quit sending you shirts because they don't want your shit on their shirts. They could do that.
Yeah, they're tired of.
Then
your
you go
negative
purchase another
association.
shirt.
Okay, what if Hanes does it?
So
Comfort Colors does it too.
I
Then you're-
don't
you're
think
unless
that
you
you
go-
have it going that
Unless
bad.
you go to Asia.
I don't think you have Glidden calling up, going, you know what, fuck you. You're not putting your shit on my shirt.
You don't know. We've never went that far. We don't know yet.
So basically, what you're saying is entertainment's dead. Everybody should give up.
That's not what I said.
That is what you said.
That is not what I
That
said.
corporate structure has killed entertainment.
Well, they ain't helped it none.
Well, they're not helping it.
There's no incentive for them to. That's the problem.
Look, I tell
But I
you,
think
Look,
you can.
companies
you can
will do what's in the company's best interest, and once it becomes in their best interest, they'll change their damn tune. Just like they. You think companies have been? Look at Blizzard. Activision Blizzard scandal now with all the sex pervert and the sexual harassment and everything that's going on there. This company's been that way. That's who they were for a long time, and it's only because the societal culture has changed enough that the corporations
it's also
are paying
because they've
attention.
decided they're going to go public.
Yeah, and people are
Okay.
paying attention.
Like as
to
long as you're a private entity,
it. You think they're the only one?
as long as you're a private entity, you can usually keep that shit quiet.
Do you think they're the only one? No, it's all this way.
No.
I'm not talking about the sexual stuff. Maybe that's
it's
not
hard,
my problem.
It's hard to do that.
But what
now.
I'm talking about is the fundamental. The corporations are reacting to a perceived societal shift because they want to make money. And what you're going to have to do is, if you don't like it, change the culture.
See, I think that it's the
You
that
got to have
they're
a paradigm
reacting.
shift.
See, I think they're reacting to China.
Well, of
That's
course
what
they
I
are.
think they're
It's all
reacting. Not
censorship.
That's
American
because
society.
That's because China has proven to be a moneymaker.
But China's not
money-making
making
venture.
WWE money. China's not making
Yet-
AEW money.
Yet
They
They're not
want to.
allowed there.
But they want to get
they're
there.
trying to get there
And why would you go
Why
there?
would you go to
because
the
they want the
Saudis?
money.
Why do you go to the Saudi
So
Arabia?
you would.
Because they're not making money here. That's why
They're
not,
making money.
not
here.
enough.
You can't have enough money.
You can.
It's
No.
not. It's not enough. It's not enough money.
They're paying these people for what? What are you getting?
So you would negate your fan base here
you think
to
that
get the Chinese fan base.
that's what people are doing?
That's why.
No,
they're-
I see that's what people are
That's-
doing.
and
We
that's
talked about
also-
it earlier. The
Right.
Celtics.
I mean, that's also. It's also why they're doing these stupid, like, oh, he broke in and ate an apple and threw it on my, because that would be allowed in Chinese
It's the
culture.
least offensive thing you could do. I mean, you raid the panty drawer? No, you can't show that. You can't show that in Saudi Arabia.
No, I get it, but you've got to quit pandering to other countries.
That's where the money's at.
There
They're picked
is
up-
money
They're
there,
picked
yes.
up by
But they
Peacock.
want that money.
and
They
N-
want that
and
money too.
NBC. They're picked up by Peacock and NBC. They want that money.
Yeah, but they want that money in
That is
addition.
what their
no,
corporate overlords
they
want.
don't just want China money. They want that money in addition to the money that they perceive is theirs
But
here.
you know what? So long as people like Brian are stupid enough to sit down and watch it every single week,
Well, that's,
they'll continue to get that.
the,
money.
the thing is though
They'll
is
keep
that
abusing the fans as long as they can get away with it.
that the thing
Yeah.
is that there's a big thing there. People like Brian who used to go out of their way to buy wrestling shirts, 7, 8, 9 of them a month. Guess what? Brian ain't doing no more. He ain't buying wrestling shirts no
Well, they
more.
don't care about that.
But that's a merch. That's where they make a shit pile of their money. Look at their spreadsheets.
Plus, they're trying to get to China where they can sell. I mean, there's how many billions of them over there?
We put 9 billion shirts out like
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
So
Fuck you, Brian. We don't
But-
need you.
that's
Yeah, who
the
are you? You're nobody.
the
Yeah.
whole thing here is
We'll
that
go- I want a WW whatever shirt on every Chinese person and every rice patty in China.
You see it with
That's
tech
that's what
companies. You see it-
Peacock's sitting there thinking.
You see it with
but
the tech
Peacock doesn't
companies.
own WWE. They're just
You see
pushing it out.
You see it with tech companies. You see it with
You-
broadcasting
So,
companies.
so you think Vince McMahon is to the point now that he's like, you know what? Fuck the people who built this.
Uh-huh.
That's just where he's at.
Do you think he really?
That's
ever
where
cared
everybody's
about
at.
them?
No, I think Vince McMahon does care about the fans.
I don't think he does. I think he's just after his own money.
Now I will agree. I think that at one point he actually cared about the
Yeah,
fans.
when he was a
You
promoter.
had to
Because
you
it was
had
cut
to.
and thrust
So-
back then.
to actually make something.
He
You
was in
had
a
to.
fight for his life.
It's already made. The fact that you sat down and watched it shows that what was done back
We're
then.
here.
He
We've
he
arrived.
capitalized on that.
and they're getting lazy and complicit.
And that will be the downfall of them.
Well, that's so
No.
be it.
No. And here's the thing, okay?
It should
Once
be.
they start seeing the shift that they're not capitalizing, just like Days of Our Lives. Once it starts going downhill again and everyone's sick of seeing what this person's doing now, then they change the story.
yeah,
and
there's-
shock the
they've got-
senses and bring you back.
They're-
All they need's one good storyline. It'll bring people back again. It could be shitty as all get out, but it could be shocking enough to bring people back to want to see it, and then they can slack off again.
You can only bring The Rock back so many times.
I didn't say it had to be. It
Well,
could be-
that's what-
it could be somebody new.
That's their go-to.
It could be somebody new.
And I mean,
there's certain wells you can only go to.
Create
so
a
many
new
times before
create
they
a
run
new
dry.
story.
That's the problem. They can't.
yeah, they refuse.
But they can.
They
And when
won't.
my point
They-
is, once
there's-
it slacks off so much, they will have to, or they're going to get canceled.
That's the thing. She's right. There are people who sit around in rooms looking at spreadsheets and graphs and demographics and all of that marketing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got, okay, if our numbers are at this point, we're good. But if they get to below this point, okay, we need to do a little something else. And if we're down here, panic.
It's
Hit
like
the button.
It's like, all right, right now we're all the way up here. Sure, they can fight over fucking apples. Who the hell cares?
So, but what we're saying, okay, because you both pretty well poo-pooed on the idea that an independent with money could
Gonna
start
have
up,
to have a lot of money.
and compete.
Yes, it would be very hard
It's an uphill battle.
because you need sponsors.
But I still don't get. I'm trying to pinpoint your sponsors and just think it back to WWF days.
They had
Who
sponsors.
who
then,
was
too.
their sponsors?
They had different ones.
Every
The Slam of the
commercial that
Week.
played during the time that they were on.
Those were USA sponsors. They had to buy their time there. They did not get.
But
commercial.
the
Got it
from
point,
the
the
new
point
network.
was that they would specifically buy time during that wrestling.
How are
match.
you going to broadcast yourself?
No. Okay, you're talking about if you were to start up. I'm
how
telling
you
you,
gonna
the internet is. I think the internet's the way to go.
Okay.
But seriously, back then, what they did was like you could literally say you could go to the network and say, "I want to make a Toyota Tundra commercial." Okay, and my Toyota Tacoma or Tundra commercial is going. I would like for it to play during wrestling on Monday night or whatever night. it
Well,
was. I don't
the
fucking
way
know.
advertisements and media sell is in bulk,
Yes,
and you
but
buy.
they can still do that. It would be, I want a primetime slot. I'm going
you-
to pay
right,
money for
you
a
buy
primetime
so many
slot.
primetime
And
slots,
if
and then
it's
you buy
and that's the
non-primetime
thing,
slots in
if
bulk.
Monday Night Raw was or whatever the fuck it was enough to be considered prime time, then that's where it played.
Well, I mean, it was drawing more people than Monday
But
Night
it
Football,
didn't.
right?
It didn't matter. Now it doesn't matter. They'll sit there and go, you know what? I don't like that Colin Kaepernick or whoever. I don't want my commercial playing during that football game, and they will do it.
Who did that?
I don't know.
They could, though.
That's my point. Is
I mean,
they
that's
could.
like the argument that Corey threw out earlier about people pulling advertising from Fox News. They keep getting more advertisers. So I
But
mean,
it's a different advertising. It's not. I mean,
I mean, how many
and they
Mike
keep
Miller
making
commercials do you
more
need?
money.
okay.
I mean,
That's because they've already brainwashed their culture.
but my point is that there's an advertiser out there.
Just
if
like
you have
you
the
watching,
market.
just like you watching this crappy Crown Jewel. Okay, they already had you brainwashed as part of the culture, and you'll probably watch again.
Well, the reason that I watched Crown Jewel was because Brian was going to come on this week and talk about it.
But the fact that you were
But it
willing to
matters
go
enough
along
to
with
you.
it, yeah,
It matters.
you're
to you.
part of that brainwashed culture.
You're,
Okay,
You're
I
their
see.
consumer.
Problem's me.
Okay.
No,
if you wanna be-
I'm just
if you
saying
want to
it.
be unnecessarily.
That's what I was just told.
stupidly
No,
reductive,
you've
yes.
now reached that point where you're an old man and you're trying to relive a glory day.
I just think that it's
It's like all those people that are going to sit down and try to watch the new Wonder Years. because they like the old one.
I don't know how they.
Yeah, I
did, but
don't know
whatever.
anyone
I'm
who
just
liked the
saying.
old
If
one, but
it, I mean, I'm just saying.
no, I think my point, the point is that I was trying to make is that it has potential. It could come back. It could do good. It could be great again.
Because that's your nostalgia talking.
Do you have any nostalgia on
I'm
anything?
just saying that's
Is
what
there
that
nothing
is.
you think that could come back and be great again?
Yes, I do.
But my point is you're sitting here shitting on me.
I'm not shitting
The
on you.
problem
I'm
is
telling
that
you that's
want
what
to
this
be
is.
that guy. That's the problem.
No,
You're
I'm
too
telling
invested.
you that that's what this is. That's why they can put out this thing
Yeah.
about apples and fighting, and these people in the United States are going to watch it. It's because it's
But
nostalgia.
I mean, they
They're
can
eating
look
it
at the
up.
ratings and see that people are not watching in
But
the
they
United
are.
States.
They are watching because they want to see what are they going to do next. They can't possibly be this lame forever.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
they're
that
holding
most
out
people.
hope.
That's what nostalgic people sit there and think.
Hope is a very dangerous thing.
I've
Yes,
noticed.
Not that hope, but in general, the hope can lead you down a very dark path.
No, but look, I didn't watch it hoping you were in the room with me. You knew that I had a predisposition to it was going to be awful.
Yeah, but we didn't know how bad it was going to be.
We knew it was going to be awful. I was not coming into this going, you know what? I hope it's going to be great. I knew it was going to be awful. I knew who was on the card. I knew what was going on. I also know that WWE couldn't write their way out of anything right now if they had to. My point is that I feel like if they didn't have the corporate structure going on where everything was done by committee, maybe it would be worth a shit again.
Because just like with,
Because who are you going to put in charge of it?
but
Vince doesn't care anymore.
here's,
No, I agree. Vince doesn't care.
just like Days of Our going back to the Days of Our Lives.
Look,
talk,
go
'cause
with,
it's
go
the
with a
soap opera-
different argument.
No,
Go with
no.
Lucas for a second.
No, it's the soap opera thing, okay? Even the soap operas, if you look at Days of Our Lives, the only thing that they are telling anybody about is what John and Marlena are doing, and they are old as fuck. They even had to bring them on Beyond Salem just to salvage that.
But
they're having to deal with
look
all
at-
these old people who are going to die soon because nobody cares or is invested in what the young people are doing.
It's because they didn't build the young people up while the old people were still there.
But they sucked in.
But my point,
Their
look,
stories
look
weren't
Look
good.
at George Lucas. Lucas had great films. I think we can all agree when Lucas was writing films, they were great.
Okay.
You agree or disagree? Indiana Jones. You were an
Yeah.
Indiana Jones fan.
Yeah.
Okay. Has Disney done anything with Lucasfilms since they've purchased it that you like?
I haven't really watched any of it.
Do you know any of them?
I mean, they made some Star Wars movies. that
Okay.
were
My point
questionable.
is that once a committee gets a hold of something, there's no longer any creative about it. It's done, and that's where it's at. It's all riding by committee right now.
Everything dies in committees.
And that's the problem. And something will come up and replace these things
Well,
at some
I mean,
point.
books are written that way too, and they sell hand over fist. Most of the major books that you read are written by a bunch of people that sit there.
Do you mean Harry Potter wasn't wrote by that homeless woman?
No.
Oh.
The think tank. Everything's part of a think tank.
Look, I'm a believer that people could still go out and change things.
Do you think it's the South Park manatees that are the Family Guy
Probably.
manatees that had figured out how
Well, that was
what
South
would-
Park that they were
Yeah,
writing for
but it was
Family
for
Guy.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was how they found out that the fight was gonna be over an apple.
But no-
I mean, I would hope it was a good apple. And obviously, it wasn't because he likes.
Yeah, he threw it on the floor. But no, I still
Granny
believe.
Smith.
I know that you two disagree with me. I still believe that somebody could come out and put out a good product.
I'm not
if-
saying they couldn't. I'm not saying it's not possible to make good things.
I
The
don't
thing
think
is-
they're not gonna be an independent.
They'd have to start out independent because they couldn't.
But they're gonna have to have hella good sponsors.
Then they're going to wind up in the same spot eventually.
Because you're gonna have to bring all these people to the table. Because the minute you have to bring in sponsors, they're gonna want to change everything.
Yeah, everyone. The more people you have to bring in, the more say they're all going to want, and the less you have.
Well, see, this is the thing with AEW is you've got more people coming to AEW now because of creative freedom. They've got more license to do stuff with their characters than they did at WWE. Do you think at some point talent says we're out, or as long as the money keeps pouring, they'll still have somebody?
Look, they're fine where they are. I mean, these people they're half-assing their job. They're making bukus of money doing it. What do they care? They're not hungry. You can see that. They don't care enough to
I
go to-
agree. I mean, I watched the same thing you did. Even Brock Lesnar, a man who made like $6 million just to show up,
Yeah, he doesn't care.
he
wasn't
came,
invested.
got his check, walked away. That's
These
all he
people
did.
aren't invested in this. They don't. They might as well not be there. Fire their asses and get new people.
And the worst part is that they literally preyed on the American public's nostalgia watching it.
Mhm.
And then these Saudi
But-
Arabians didn't know what the fuck it was anyway, so
Well,
they'll
they
show up
catered.
to it.
It's been catered for the past 10 years to the Saudis, and that's what's really odd about it.
Because they don't really, man, it's
They're getting that
new.
oil
It's
money.
new entertainment for them. I
I
mean,
mean-
you know,
Like they've removed Southern accents
okay.
from wrestling, and I'm like, you shouldn't do that. I mean, it's okay.
Well, that's what's going to happen with NASCAR.
It's
before too
already
long, 'cause-
happened to NASCAR.
That's true.
Okay. I mean, there's no argument about it. It's already happened. And does NASCAR suffer because of it? Yes. Tony Stewart started a damn league that is cutting into NASCAR's,
That's actually because NASCAR's not making any freaking money.
and the same with WWE. You can watch their stock fall every freaking day right now.
Okay.
And I mean, NASCAR
I mean,
doesn't have a stock.
I'm not disagreeing
But
with
I'm
that.
just
I
saying
mean,
that when they because that's like
Well,
NASCAR
once it
decided.
loses
people
enough
who-
money, they'll say, "Okay, we've got a problem."
the,
But
peop-
not until then.
the people who
Well-
are, and that's the thing, and NASCAR's already starting to respond to that by trying to go towards the Formula One style format.
Right. That's what they're going to go worldwide. Is what we're going to do. NASCAR. That was their brilliant idea.
And do
And
more
then-
road courses.
Right.
So it'd be more like Formula One.
Vince McMahon does not control WWE anymore.
Mm-mm.
It is he owns like 20% of the company. The fact is that there's no one man who can rein WWE back in
No,
unless there's a stock buyback.
he may institute one.
I mean, if he wants to fix it, he'd have to.
Here's the problem. If you wanted to fix WWE, the person that you need is Jeff Bezos. If Jeff Bezos decided that he was interested in wrestling and decided to start his own network, because he has the platform to do it with.
Yeah.
Okay, he could do it. But clearly he doesn't give a shit about
No,
it.
he put a bid in on buying the whole company. And they decided, no, we weren't doing that because Vince didn't want to give up what power he had.
So wait, he'll be dead. They'll be dead soon enough.
Right.
And that's probably
Oh,
what
you know,
this
fine.
is.
Get
But-
it at a fire sale.
You know what? That right there is probably what this is. 100%. You just called it exactly how it is. Because you've got one asshole who owns only 20% of the company
Yeah.
who wouldn't give up their 20%.
but that's still the majority share.
It doesn't matter. The rest of them are like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Let's milk this for what we've got and run it into the damn ground. And then that way, when the time comes, we can sell it off to Jeff Bezos.
And that's what'll probably wind up happening.
Yeah.
And Bezos, I mean, he'll never
And
be the
put
person
and put Vincent out to pasture.
but he'll never be hands on with it. He'll be like
find
Ted Turner.
He'll find somebody worth a damn who'll put
Yeah,
in charge
he'll
of it.
get riders. He'll get.
He'll
creative.
probably get writers, but I mean, that's the thing is like, will he do that or will he just say, all right, let's let the main shit die and just go, we've got the old stuff. Because I mean, that's the reason Peacock came in and bought the catalog was, hey, we want the old stuff. We don't want your new shit.
No, I don't think so. I think what he'll do is he'll buy it.
There's a market for it.
and want to put it back out there.
There's a market for it. I
And
mean, or
just
else you
kinda
wouldn't have
rebrand
what
it.
you have now.
I mean, I get when we were kids, television was king. Okay. I mean, like, freaking Friends had 7 million viewers a week. Television was king back then. Today, television doesn't matter as much.
Mm-mm.
I mean, even like ball games, like baseball games, they're trying their best to transition from being
The
a
problem-
television-based medium. So
I'll think of one problem that the corporations have is that they're struggling with one thing, and that is the fickle, non-loyalty is king above all else culture of the younger generations. They're not baked in hardcore believers. They're willing to say, you know what, fine, whatever,
Do you know what the problem is?
and
is that
they'll leave it there.
the new generation doesn't have the attention span to sit down for an hour and watch anything.
Mm-mm.
That's
No,
why
I-
why TikTok is king.
I agree.
That's why Quidbee
But-
became a thing.
Could you not take wrestling and incorporate it into TikTok? I
Yeah.
mean, would you not be telling your wrestlers be on TikTok?
Yeah, but you could do a highlight from a match on TikTok
Right.
too.
I don't see what, I mean, but they're not doing it right. I mean, they may be. I'm not on TikTok like you are, but you know,
I got told to do a thing. Now I'm getting.
so
You know.
I'm not poo-pooing on you. I'm just saying.
Well, if,
that-
you know,
You regret
Be
not
like
leaving
you.
now.
So anyway, well, that's all we've got this week on the Ultimate Wrestling Podcast. Brian,
summary, it was terrible.
what?
Summary, it was terrible. Crown Jewel
Oh,
was
I
terrible.
thought she was talking about the pod. Don't be telling people the podcast is terrible now.
No, like summary of it all. It was
Crown Jewel-
terrible. Don't
Crown Jewel
watch
was
it.
awful. AEW was all right, but
Was it?
all right. It
It
was
was
all right.
so bad I didn't watch any of it.
Look,
So,
look,
well, you don't watch any of it anyway. You
I
don't
never
like
did.
wrestling, so
All you ever
we'll,
did
we'll
was
talk
want to
about
try to.
AEW next time.
right. Anyways, that's it for us. We'll be back next week.
Maybe.
Yes,
Okay.
with bells on, Corey.
Maybe with Brian.
Maybe with Brian. Wait a minute, that's not what I want. There you go.
SummerSlam spectacular of all time.
A little bit of JR going out.